Heyo. Oh, not yet. Some technical. There we go. Heyo.
Hey there.
What's up? How are you?
Doing good.
Awesome. Everybody, to all the four people who might be watching this and anyone in the future, we got Torcodez and welcome to the I Can't Produce a Podcast. This is episode number 3, and we got the today. It's feeling like a really chill Sunday for both of us. So this is I feel like this is going to be pretty laid back, but nonetheless, we are two amateur producers shooting the shit, and that's what this is all about.
Oh yeah.
So we were just talking briefly, I think a lot of music producers these days are also really big gamers.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely. That's something we can I agree on. Anyways, this is my homie Sam. We worked at Liquid together here in Madison, Wisconsin, and it's not open yet. But the song you just heard was his edit of what's it? There for you. I don't know the original artist. Who's that?
Yeah.
Ianu?
It was actually an old buddy of mine. I met in an old Discord server. He had he it was originally it's a future bass track, and I just added simple D&B beat over it, some other extra drums and shit, jumped it up to drum and bass style. But
Was the
he
original
had a bunch of
tempo?
remixes.
Oh no, you go ahead.
150. It was
Okay.
at 150. So jump that up, added a little. It just had a little more flavor to it. But yeah, I was gonna do a full on remix at one point, but I lost the original stems. So
It
always
happens.
sucks, but it happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I really like so drum and bass is not, I guess, a genre that I normally dabble in, because you know me, I
Mhm.
like all that wook bass and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
but but with this song, I actually listened to it before the show and I really enjoyed it because you got you keep the energy high like the entire
Hmm.
time, and that's the one thing about drum and bass that I can appreciate, and whenever I use it, I always it's usually for like one song if I'm doing a mix, or like maybe even just like one
Yeah.
one drop. But with this one, you
Yeah.
got some really clean toms in there. I actually that part got me. There were some times where I was like, oh shit, I should be driving like 80 miles an hour on the highway right now.
Yeah.
So is drum and bass like your favorite genre? You'd say to
Um.
maybe produce or
At least
listen to?
producing, I'd say, yeah. I've always wanted to kind of have that thing where it's like not many people, especially over here in the States, produce it as much. And so it's a little more of a thing where it's like I kind of want to be known for that one person who mainly makes drum and bass and mixes it, even though like for like listening and stuff, I'd say, house music all the way. But I think drum and bass is probably my favorite one to at least produce. It's a little more like in some places, like the style I kind of want to go for, might be a little more unique in some places, or depending on the style, you go because you can either have the very melodic liquid style that I made in my debut, or stuff that I'm working on where it's either insanely heavy or melodic.
Right.
It can go across the entire spectrum.
Yeah, there's some really like I guess who would you consider liquid drum and bass?
People like Hybrid Minds, I think their name is. They got it's a very minimal style where you have like a lot heavy use of real, or I don't want to say real instruments, but like piano, uh like choirs, and heavy use of pads and like atmospheric elements, and either no vocals or very ghostly reverb heavy vocals. And
Oh, okay.
then you don't really have many build-ups. You'll just kind of have like a sweep into a quote unquote drop where it just kind of plays through, and there's no real heavy basses to it. It's just a very either just a heavy loud sub or a detuned saw bass or a very light Nero bass where it kind of goes throughout the entire drop with heavy use of percussion hi-hats and simple, not loud, not too loud of a kick and not too punchy of a snare. It's kind of like have clap snares sometimes. I always like adding snaps on like every 4 for my drums every so often, just because it kind of adds that a little bit of a groove to it, you know.
Yeah, no,
But it's
snaps
never too
snaps are great.
heavy.
I think that might be my
Yeah.
favorite type of drum and bass now that you say it like that, because I was my first real introduction to drum and bass was Zed's Dead Catching Z's, if you know those mixes. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I think they have a lot of liquid drum and bass in there, and yeah, I think I prefer it to the really high energy stuff because I can kind of listen to it for a while, which I think
Yeah.
with the high energy drum and bass, I never really want to listen to it for that long.
Yeah.
Um, but no, that's I think I should. I just looked up Hybrid Minds, and I'm gonna follow them or check out their music because I have never heard
Yeah.
of them. That's awesome though.
They're yeah. They're real good.
Do you have any?
Highly recommend.
I guess that leads me to a pretty basic question. So, any favorite artists right now? I mean, or who's helping
Like
you?
my all time favorite will always be Dion Timmer. He's been like ever since I really started getting into it, and ever since I went to my first show, he's just been like my biggest inspiration in terms of actually producing and DJing. Because he was like he's still 21 years old. He's only like a year and a half older than I am,
Was
and
he
he's
was he at Liquid
massive.
when we were
Yeah,
working?
well, because he performed back in December of 2019, and then on the last show of the year for 12th Planet, or like the last artist that came in, 12th Planet came in, and then like halfway through his set, he was like, "Yo, I got a treat for y'all," and then brought out Dion Timmer. I was working in the fucking coat check at the time, and I was
No.
fuming at the moment. But then David came by. I was like, "Hey, go watch the show for a little bit." I was like,
Well, David's the fucking
"Homie,
homie. Yeah.
homie."
Dave,
But yeah,
love
those
David.
those are the only 2 times I can remember him coming. He's probably came a few other times, but I remember the first show that I ever went to was 2018 when Excision came to Madison. He actually performed at the Orpheum. I think that's the place. It's on State Street.
Yeah.
But it was who is there? It was Monks, Dion Timber, Liquid Stranger, and Excision. And that was my first ever show, so I was like nervous as fuck to go, but it was still hella fun. So
Yeah.
it was an all age show, but I was 17 at the time, and I was just like, it was so cool to actually like see someone that I've been listening to for when I forget when Dion Timmer's debut came out on Monster Cat, but ever since I found him, I was like, okay, this guy's kind of a unique little cookie, considering he was, I think at the time, my age, or no, he might have been 18 at the time.
When he played at
But
the Orpheum.
when he played at the Orpheum, he was 18, because I know he's 21 right now, or
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, Dion
He
Timmer's probably like one of my biggest inspirations and favorite
you've
artists.
definitely mentioned him before, but does he produce any drum and bass?
Um,
Not
I
that.
don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
was
think he's
just.
mainly like 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 the dubstep and brostep producers or whatever he does, because he kind of like does that. He either does like very melodic, like whatever it is. I have no idea whatever some of his it's either like house, his melodic neon style that people like to call it, and then like his weird dubstep stuff, which is still really good. Like not trying to discredit him or anything. I still love like 95% of all of his music, but like just for like general inspiration, he's kind of like my go-to and probably favorite. But like for the actual drum and bass parts of it, a lot of Monster Cat drum and bass artists like Muzz, I think his name is, I don't know how to say his name, but I'm gonna say it's Fient. he does a lot of good shit. Ramses B, I know our buddy Jaden, he really likes him a lot. But Hybrid Minds for the liquid stuff, but yeah.
Oh, that's yeah, no, that's sorry, I'm moving the mic a little closer to me, so I was a little distracted. The well, yeah, because I was thinking of Dion Timmer, and I just thought, yeah, I don't think he produces any drum and bass. Which again,
Yeah,
not that you need to actually, not that you can't draw inspiration from like the music that you produce, or outside of your genre, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah,
To my knowledge, I don't think he has, but
he's
I
probably
know
got.
he has a tune. He has a tune coming out soon with Teddy Killer, so I don't know if it's going to be dubstep, but if it's drum and bass, I'm gonna go insane.
um, yeah, Dion. I think I have a memory of seeing him at Liquid while I was doing lights or something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you might have been working. I'm not sure if you were working that show or not, because I wasn't working. I specifically requested to be off that night, because like most of the time, if there's an artist that I like really like, I'll be like, yeah, like I'd want to do the main VJ set for that or whatever, like be there for that and meet them afterwards. Like I remember when Trivecta came,
I
because
remember.
he
Yeah,
was
I was. That was my first show at Liquid while working. Trivecta.
yeah, because Trivecta he came in and then the next day Dion Timmer came in.
Oh, yeah,
So
that
I
makes
worked.
sense.
I VJ'd that night for Trivecta's set, and then day after I was like, all right, time to have a lot of fun.
I
'Cause
remember.
I was like, got there as soon as I can, and just stayed the entire time and just had a fucking blast. Because Nick and Alex, they went back to back on that show, so go early, see them.
Right.
I forget who else played during that show. I remember what's his name? Sav was the direct support. He did a really good set. But then when Neon came out, I was like, this is the one.
This is what we've been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen.
Because like I hadn't actually like I rarely ever get like what is it, like starstruck by someone anymore, like especially like I remember when Akali came in
Yeah.
and he's like massive, and I was just like, oh, this is him.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
like, dude, Akali,
like
he was not my favorite artist to work with.
Yeah,
gonna say that.
I liked his crew though was really nice.
His crew, no,
I remember his crew. I actually like, they were chill people and they were actually helping us out.
Yeah, no, his crew were probably some of my favorite people to work with. I was just saying,
like,
Akali himself, like, didn't really. Well, first off, he signed the screen of the CDJs.
I'll never forget that, dude. Oh my god. Dude, I still remember Jade talking about that afterwards. Oh my god.
And I will say, I was starstruck by. So Ikali was probably my maybe equivalent to maybe how you, feeling starstruck when an artist that you really like comes by, because I had been on Ikali's flow for probably like 2 years at that point, and it's because he had all these Awakening mixes. He's got this series, and what was funny. This is what I learned from that experience. I was talking to Ikali's his manager or whoever was running his setup. I forget his name too, but I was like, hey man, this is really cool that you're working with Ikali. I forget his actual name, both of their actual names. And then I said my favorite is probably his Awakening mixes. And Ikali's manager just goes, oh yeah, no, those are mine. And he goes, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, no, those are my mixes. Like those, I basically curate them. I think he even said that I think he said that he mixed them. I could be wrong about that. And it was just kind of interesting because I just went from one. I mean, the entire night I was probably still starstruck. I was like cutting him a lot of slack. Looking back on it, looking back on it, I didn't even like his set. I really didn't. But I also remember telling him, like, I remember telling E. Kelly in the green room that he had an awesome set, and then I just remember like leaving immediately and thinking, wait a minute, I actually didn't like that set at all. I don't know why the fuck I just said
I feel
that.
like when you're like talking to an artist, or like you tell them, and then maybe you feel something a little different. I feel like I've done that like once or twice when talking to artists, but like I mean, like most of the time when you're working with artists that come in, a lot of the times they're very chill. Because I still remember when Moody Good and Blackjack came in
Yeah, that was a
for
fun
their
night. That was a
sets.
really, really fun night.
That was a really like fun night, because I was a fan of Moody Good at the time. I enjoyed a lot of his shit, and it was fun to meet him. And working with Blackjack when he was like telling me how he kind of wanted his visuals going, and then Moody Good was talking about how he wanted the set to go, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's like I never really got starstruck until I was like right next to Dion Timmer asking him to sign my Monster Cat flag. I was just like, like the first time it actually like really happened is like this was even far like before I was even working at Liquid. It was when Virtual Riot came to the Apex or whatever that place is called. Not the Apex, it's the that one other club that people like to go to
Crucible?
in Madison. Not the Crucible.
Apex,
Fuck, I can't remember.
Red.
I know,
No, I know. Is it like the red zone or something like that?
It's right next to it. I cannot remember.
I think
for the
I think
life of
it's
me.
I think it's like technically a part of the red zone. I don't really know.
Yeah. I'm looking it up right now just to make sure I'm getting this right.
Well, we might as well give them a shout out on a public platform, like
because I know Dub Hub hosted the event because it was a Christmas event.
Oh, okay. I think it's the same place that I think Yeti played a show at the venue you're talking about, and I missed it.
Yeah. It was at the Annex.
Annex.
That's
There
what
we
it's
go.
called.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was the Annex. But yeah, because that was my third ever show I went to. Because like I barely ever go to shows.
Right.
But because like first ever show, Excision on tour.
Nice. So was that at the Orpheum?
The Excision one was at the Orpheum. Yeah.
I think we were. I think we must have been at the same show. What year was it?
Maybe. 2018.
I think I must have been junior in college. I think at the Orpheum. Hell yeah! Wait, did Liquid Stranger open?
No, Mox. Oh wait, for Excision. Yeah, he opened for Excision.
Okay, yeah, we were at the same show. Awesome, hype.
Hype.
That was a good
my second ever show was with my buddy Toast, and we went to Spaghetti, and this was my first ever Liquid show as well. That was my first time being at Liquid, which was fun. And then third ever show was Virtual Riot, and then obviously I could say like since working at Liquid, all of those shows that I've worked are technically shows I've been to, but I hadn't really been to like go out of my way to go to a show if I wasn't working that night.
Did you work shows before you actually experienced one?
No, actually, because I started working at Liquid in April of 2019.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, because originally I started as security, and I was after a while I was like, damn, this shit sucks. And and then I was like, hey, when I was talking with Charlie at one point, it was just like, hey, I want to know how all this works. And then Ben was like, okay, we could try to work this out for a while. And then I actually started VJing for a bit, and then they were like, damn,
dude,
let's have you do this more often.
Well, yeah, dude, you rock at that shit.
My first ever time VJing, it was for it was when Eptic came in, and I didn't actually VJ for either his set or Tynan's set. I VJ'd for I think it was the openers for the night where fucking FMJ and Spooky Bro at the time. I think that was who was opening. I can't remember exactly, but I VJ'd for the openers, and then I was still getting used to it, and over time I was like still getting the swing of things. I remember my first actual artist, like VJ for a complete artist, was when I VJ'd for Barry Grylls. I basically did the entire thing,
Yeah.
which was hella fun. But then after that, I was like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. Because I had previous experience like doing visual mixes with After Effects and stuff. So, excuse me, knowing where visuals are supposed to come in, plus also being a DJ as in itself, also kind of plays a help to it, because sometimes you'll know some of the tricks that they do a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Where it's like,
it's a big help.
Especially with dubstep. Like a lot of dubstep mixes are nearly the same, where you can do it unless it's a rhythm mix, then it's hard sometimes. But with dubstep, you have the build up, and then you'll either cut it out with just the logo when the pre-vocal hits or pre-drop vocal hits, and then sometimes they'll have that little fake out for like 2 bars, and then just fucking bring it in like crazy. And then if it's a rhythm drop, it's a lot harder because they have like the 8-bar fucking pre-drop where it's just like, wah,
what?
wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah.
Definitely.
But for like house mixes, it's pretty easy. For future-based trap mixes, it's pretty easy. A lot of the times it is just getting that foundation down and like, okay, I know what I'm doing.
Well, so besides your music as your aspirations, your dreams, you're pretty good at visual design. And I've seen your work. So you do a lot more 3D work than I do. I do a lot of like trippy 2D stuff. I work with like I'll take like geometry and then I'll just like put it through a bunch of effects. But you actually you kind of create some 3D scenes. And I mean, working with you on the VJ, I was doing lights right next to you, like you and Brad. I mean, you guys were fucking killing it on the VJ. I could never get the hang of it on the like you gave me a lot of tutorials too, and I just like was so much more comfortable with the lights. But you're right when you say that like being a DJ really helps you accomplish that job. It really so essential, because I would still get faked out, but then like it's kind of like fucking up on a DJ set. You got to pull yourself back in. You got to see it through.
Yeah. Because with doing it, because like you have like the faders when you're like bringing in like a visual, and it's just to be like do whatever, just like fuck with it, and then like bring it all in, put some weird effect on it. Because like what I would often do is like sometimes if a DJ hit me with a really long fake out drop, and if I was like I'd have the effect already turned on. I turn it off and put a completely different one when the actual drop hits, and then just hit the strobe button as it actually drops, just to have a little more impact to it.
Yeah.
But it definitely helps being a DJ if you're gonna be a VJ, because it is essentially the exact same job. It is just 2 different mediums.
Completely. I want to say that translates over to lights. So I think I just had an easier time with the light panel than I had with the VJ panel and maybe the Resolume software, because what I remember this specific fuck up that would happen to me all the time. I would always get faked out. When I played football in 7th grade, I always got faked out. And when I was doing lights or like doing anything at the show for Liquid, the DJ would always fake me out, because I would just. So anyway, I remember there were a few times where I thought the drop was coming, and I hit the strobes, and then it was a fake out, and so I'm like, well, I just hit the strobes on a fake out, and so I would have to cut it immediately, and then I'm like, oh, it's a 2-bar fake out, and it's like when you fuck up, I feel like you have to go all in, so I'd hit the strobes again, and then when the drop actually came, I was like, well, I can't use the strobes again, so I just would full blast the lights and have them like moving.
Yeah, like I don't like. I feel like people won't, I mean, generally, people there won't care as much.
Yeah.
It's exactly like the same thing as a DJ. Like, if you make a mistake, 9 times out of 10, everyone there doesn't give a shit, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just like, sometimes if I make an obvious mistake, like accidentally cut the lights for 2 minutes, that's a problem. Or cut the visual for a bit. But if, like, doing that sometimes kind of hypes people up a little more. And it is the same thing as DJing, where you make the mistake, what happened, and you're like, fuck. But most people there really won't remember.
Yeah, you're
It's the
working
same
with
thing as DJing.
completely. No, I remember
Mhm.
when I was doing lights, I was just DJing along with him. That was all it was.
It really is,
Yeah.
because like you're just kind of like, at when you're in that booth, you're just like not only doing your job, but you're vibing out to the music while doing it.
Yeah,
You
those, and
know?
my favorite shows too were the I mean, especially when it's your favorite genre of music, or when you've heard, or when this artist has been on your radar and like you already know like a bunch or a few of their songs. I mean, those are the
Yeah.
best experiences, because then
Oh fuck yes.
yeah, definitely.
I know
Because
exactly what you're talking about. Especially when Trivecta came in, that was probably one of my favorite sets to VJ, because it was like I knew a lot of his music, and then just like he didn't have as many visuals as some artists have, which is
right.
one small gripe I get with sometimes. But that, just like going in with a lot of his music in mind, I was like, okay, I know exactly how this is gonna go. And he surprised me in some cases, just like bringing out a fucking guitar and just like going ham at some parts, and I was just like, oh, I wasn't expecting that at all. But no, anytime it's like an artist that you really like and know a lot of their music, it's a lot more fun. But even sometimes sets where it's like you don't know it, like I still remember when Don Bresky came in and it was just Brad and I, because I was working security for the first couple hours that night, and Brad was running both Ruby and Liquid, where he would be DJing in Ruby and would come out just to change the logo in Liquid. And then when Dombreski came in, he jumped on lights, I jumped on visuals. Just like from this show beforehand, I had never heard of him except for one song, and he had a lot of visuals which played in really nicely.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But
You would prefer them to have a lot of shit for you to work with.
I always like it when an artist comes in with a lot of visuals, or when they say you can use some in-house visuals. Obviously, that rarely happens. Like
Yeah,
I
it
still
does.
remember when Prince Fox came in, when
Oh no, I wasn't there for
fucking
that, but I heard all the
yeah,
stories.
but he
Yeah.
said I can use like in-house visuals because he only had two visuals.
Oh yeah,
He
no,
had
no.
he had a logo he had a logo visual and another logo visual that had a background,
Oh, gotcha.
and that was it. And I mean, he was a chill ass guy. Prince Fox I like that guy a lot. He was really chill. But and then Blackjack, he he had his visuals, and he said, just pick some. I'm gonna quote him here because I still love telling me how he told me to pick some of these out. He was like, pick gangster type visuals.
I was there for that. Yeah, he was like gangster shit. Yeah.
like just pick some real hardcore gangster shit. I'm like, we have this one that looks like a virus and it's like doing shit. He's like, yeah, just like that. Like we didn't have a lot of, like, at the time we didn't have like a lot of skulls or shit like that we have now that I've found throughout time. But
Yeah.
we had like cool Mentisa style visuals where there's like pretty like weird shit. But I still remember him telling me the story of the guy at the night before when they were in Kansas or wherever the fuck they were at, when they were playing, and he was like, he told the VJ, just pick a couple extra visuals, I don't really care. And then when he was playing, he looked behind him and there was a fucking like ballerina spinning around with a skull head. He was like, turned it down and like, yo, turn this shit off. I still think that's funny as hell.
That is really funny. I was around for that conversation, but I wasn't. I don't remember exactly what I was doing. No, Blackjack was a fun artist to work with. He was as far as I remember, he was just he was loving life the entire time.
Yeah.
Who was he opening for though? I forget.
Moody Good.
Oh, oh, how could I forget that? Yeah, Moody. Okay, one gripe with that show, Moody Good. My favorite song that he has. It's called Satoshi Nakamoto. It's totally not the
Hmm.
style that he was going for that night. But I just,
Hmm.
oh, it was so disappointing. I was like, no, he
Hmm.
didn't play my favorite
No,
song.
every so often when an artist comes in and there's a song that I really love and I want to hear it from them and they don't play it, I'm like, fuck. Like my favorite Trivecta song is Evaporate, which is like a very minimalistic, like housey trance style song. And I kind of knew he wouldn't, but there was just like a very like inside feeling like, oh, he's gonna end off with something like that. But then I was like, oh. At the
Yeah,
end, it was a little bit disappointing, but it was just like knowing the kind of style that it was, realize that you might not do it, but I was just,
yeah.
fuck,
You're
I
like,
really wanted to hear that.
you can do very little to not get your hopes up. Because
Yeah.
like I want to hear that. I want to hear my favorite song on a big ass speaker system every
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
What was Trivecta was a fun show because he the part I remember the most about that night was, first of all, he had some awesome like commentary. His stage presence was dope. Um,
Oh, absolutely. That was so good. He
he
knows how to present himself really well.
Yeah, and he knew he was talking to the crowd, and he's just like he's clearly on like too much Adderall, and
Dude, I
he,
still remember when he went so hard for like the first 5 minutes or like first like 10 minutes. He like cuts it. Yo, we kind of went a little hard there. Let's bring it back a little bit. And then just played like some super like emotional shit. That was so funny.
My favorite part of the night though was at the end of the show where he's like, but one of the coolest guys that after, interacting with the crowd or interacting with the crew afterwards. But he goes, oh, let's see what new sauce I got tonight. Let's see. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, damn, this guy's partying. And then he opens his guitar case and he pulls out 3 bottles of hot sauce. And I was like, oh shit, no, he meant sauce. And then he
Yeah.
goes,
The sauce.
he actually meant some fucking hot sauce. And then he goes, yeah, no, my fans, they bring me hot sauce to all my shows.
That's so good. I didn't even know that. Like, I'm a fairly I like a lot of his music. I did not know the hot sauce thing. I
Yeah,
really didn't.
it was a little.
That's insane.
Yeah, what a career, dude. I mean, you go travel all around the country, get a bunch of different hot sauce.
Hmm.
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Well, I mean, working at Liquid has been awesome. Do you So I mean, do you plan to go back as soon as they open?
That's my plan.
Uh,
As much as, some stuff was kind of meh back there, but I miss it. A lot of the stuff a lot of the opportunities, a lot of the nights that we had there, it's a lot of fun. And it can lead to fun stories. It can lead to a lot of this other shit where you're like, okay, you know, it's a lot of stuff that I miss and a lot of learning opportunities and a lot of times where, having a lot of close connections with people. I've met a lot of friends working at Liquid, which is something I value a lot.
Me too.
And
Yeah.
once I don't want to say once COVID is over because it's probably not going to be for a very long time. But once everything starts opening back up and we start getting back to these things where shows can be a possibility, I would like to go back. VJing every Friday and Saturdays
It's
was
a
one of the highlights.
productive and really fun way to spend your Saturday and Friday nights, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really is.
I got it. Yeah. As much as, I had my own fair of shit at Liquid, which I won't get into because it's not worth it. It was just,
Yeah,
just at the end of the day, there was just some things I got there that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere else.
exactly. Yeah, it's something that you really like. Once you're in, you're like, okay, I could see myself being here for a while.
Yeah. What is I'm gonna oh forgot before I move on, I guess you could say, because I kind of want to talk about some music production stuff. Why not?
Yeah.
But what is? Did you have a place where people can look or buy your visuals? Have you been doing that? Because I know you were working on our logos for Gavin a long time ago.
Yeah, I actually haven't been doing visuals as much recently. I've been kind of focusing more on music because I feel like with visuals, that takes a lot of time
Yeah.
and a lot of uh thinking, and where because I kind of had to make a point where I was like, okay, I still want to work on it and still do it for like friends for now or something like that, where I like, because I like, as of this exact moment, I don't have anything installed on my laptop at the moment where I can actually work on this.
Right.
But I at one point I was just like, okay, I spend a lot of my time, not only playing video games and doing other stuff, talking to friends and shit, but also I want to have this time for music. And then also I was doing visuals and design and stuff at the time. And then at that point I was like, I'm trying to balance these two things that are both very creative heavy and take a lot of time, either with music, just, the whole music production side of it, and then the visuals, both the figuring out what you're going to do, what you're going to make, and the render times, which take hours,
Right.
maybe
Yeah.
days.
Where you
'Cause
can't
not only
even
do you have
fucking
to-
use your computer. It's like you can't be
Yeah.
you can't make music while your shit's rendering.
Yeah, no, you really can't, because like with 3D, you have to render it out in 3D first, and most of the time it kind of looks like shit. You have to put it in After Effects or some sort of post-processing software to make it look nice. And then that render takes a couple of fucking hours, and then the file size is like 30 gigabytes or like more, so you have to compress it down to like either 50 megabytes or more, like a fair bit of a file size or more, because having that uncompressed file is so much.
Yeah. No,
Like
it's too much.
I recently did just a small little visual mix for a house set I recently played on VR chat at a club I do. I just had, threw some visuals in there. That when I rendered that out, and it was like an hour long, that the total file size was like 250 or more gigabytes.
Oh.
I had to buy a second external hard drive just to render that single video.
Ouch.
And now it's like, it's a smaller file size, but still that it takes a lot of space and time to try and balance both of those out. So I was like, you know what, for now, I'm going to focus on the music path,
Yeah.
go with that for a while. Inch a little bit of 3D design, because I still have a small passion for it, because originally when I graduated high school, I was like, okay, I'm going to go for design. But then I really got into music, and I was like, okay, I'm going to put this on hold for a while.
Yeah.
And went for music, and then try and balance both of them. And then I was like, I can't do this.
I think
I need to have my music, gaming, friends shit, and just have that for now.
Yeah, I feel like with music, so if you ever get to the point where you're working with, some mad decent hardware, that's probably when you can maybe have time to focus on both of those things. But when you're not working with a insane GPU, insane CPU, it can be really hard to try and combine those passions, because you're really limited. I'm just speaking from personal experience. I render visuals for my mixes, and like if I'm for an hour long mix, like I'm not even doing that much 3D stuff, and it's being compressed to, or it's being rendered into an MP4 file, and they're like 40-50 gigabytes for an hour at a lot at high quality. So all right, well, perfect segue. I think you have a really professional sound. I got to say that. I think we've been, I mean, how long have you been producing music for? Because that song that I played at the beginning, it's it's well mastered. I think it's well mixed. And yeah, it's I gotta say, I think your sound is more professional than something I could cook up at the moment.
Thank you. I should say some of the props should go to my buddy because it, you know. But thank you. Like I do try and like I've been producing for, let's see, I think I started back in 2016 is when I originally first started trying to do stuff in FL Studio. And or maybe it was even 2015. I can't really remember exact, but I want to say like maybe late 2015, early 2016 is when I originally started. And I didn't even have the name Torcodez at the time. I was just, doing some random stupid names I had at the time. And then I think I can't remember the exact year, but it might have been I want to say 2018. I went to my alias before this, which was called Dirty Heaven, which cringy as shit bro step I tried making. Yeah, it was not the best. I only released one song at the time, and it was just some awful ass bro step that was popular at the time. You watched a tutorial and you were like, oh, this is how it's done, and then you make an entire track based off of that. That's exactly what I did. But after that I had officially switched to Ableton in 2018. I think it might have been 20. Yeah, no, it was 2018. I switched to Ableton in 2018, and then around then I think I came with the Torcodez alias around the same time. I think it actually might have been the summer of the summer of 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember the exact time, or it might have been 2018 or 2019 that I came out with Torcodez. But ever since then, I've stuck with it because it's kind of the name I've had the most quote unquote success with, because I've actually had I like my first remix I did was my remix of Pink Cloud, and then I've actually had my first debut this year under that I actually really like, and it's on Spotify and is on all these platforms where like, okay,
Oh, I didn't
I'm
know you were on
actually
Spotify,
seeing
bro. I
something with
didn't.
this.
I didn't put the link to your Spotify in the description. I thought you were just a SoundCloud, bro.
Oh no, yeah, my debut is on my only single is on Spotify.
I was gonna. Yeah, I'm playing that in the outro because I listened to
Mhm.
both that and then the Anu mix that you had. All right, I'm gonna follow you on SoundCloud or on Spotify. I did not know.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, because I've had actual shows with the name. I've had stuff with this name where I would probably not have had that with old names that I've had. Because like I think I first started off making Dead Mouse style progressive house, which was like just carbon copies of take other people's MIDIs, put it in Harmor, and then add the FL Studio basic drums, and don't even sidechain, don't mix, don't do anything. And then 2016 I started branching out and doing other stuff, but I had a worse computer at the time that I couldn't even, I could barely do that, to where like I'd have a Serum preset. I would kind of do what everyone else did, or just take like a preset that they had, make a note, render it out, and then put it in. And now I can actually like have Serum open like 30,000 times. Okay, exaggeration, but
Nice.
um,
Did you upgrade? Are you on a desktop or a desktop now?
as of right now, I'm still on a laptop. Hopefully soon I'll be getting a desktop. That is the plan. And once I do that, I might just put my Ableton on there. I'm still using trial at the time until I can officially buy it.
Yeah.
But because I still want to keep working on music. I still have a couple stuff I'm still trying to work on, but artist block and some other stuff that's going on just is hard to actually go forward. But now that I actually have my single out, I feel like I have some sort of weight lifted off my shoulders where I feel like, okay, I can actually release something.
That's beautiful.
And
yeah.
like I can actually make something here because I've already done it. Like it took me a whole ass year, but I fucking did it.
Let me. I really want to dig there because how did you? What's the process of getting on Spotify like? Because to me, it's still kind of a black box.
I actually use DistroKid.
That's what a lot of people are using that. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people use it because it's fucking fantastic. Like $20 per year, and it's unlimited songs on each. Like obviously, like on most things. Like I think I'm on. I forget exactly where. I know iTunes. I know Apple Music and all that. Amazon. I know that's a page I'm on. I think I'm going to the site right now just to figure out exactly what I think I'm all on. iHeartRadio,
Oh, true.
Deezer, Tidal, Pandora, Twitch, Amazon, YouTube Music, TikTok.
Does Twitch have releases? Sorry, wait, yeah, I'm confused. Oh, those.
I think Twitch has this thing where it's like, if you have this released there, you can kind of use it.
Did you say
I don't
Facebook
know exactly
too?
how it works, but it's weird.
Interesting.
I know that was one thing you can do because I originally put it on, like, just checked the Twitch thing just in case I want like some of my friends to use my song on their Twitch because I don't have it under release anything, so I don't want people to get DMCA'd for having a song. But yeah, like $20 a year, you can get all your music on as many platforms as you want. Get your album cover on it. Do all this other shit, and have a Spotify profile created for you. Check how it's doing.
Is there Facebook it's music? Is that a thing?
Is there what?
Facebook music? Is that a thing?
I forget what exactly it is, but I know it's just it's. Like I said, I don't know exactly how it works. It's just check it here, and it might be available on that.
Gotcha. But you do recommend DistroKid to anybody that's listening?
Highly recommend for anyone who wants to get their music on Spotify. Dope. And other stuff.
Dope.
Because they're legit. They're legit. They're really good. Like $20 a year. That's like going to fucking McDonald's once a month to get 2 hamburgers. Like it's, and like I think the only thing that is, as long as you just have, as you pay that $20 every year, your music will stay there.
Right.
You miss a payment, it might get removed, but you can probably just get it right back up as soon as you get it paid.
Yeah, I missed my payment with SoundCloud once, bro. I was terrified. I was like, no, I have 10 hours of mixes on here. No.
I know on DistroKid you can add this option for like a couple extra bucks per release where it's like, even if your thing gets if your subscription doesn't get renewed or whatever, it'll stay there.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, it's a couple extra bucks. I don't know exactly how much, but
True. Yeah, I feel you. I want to ask you, where I like your name a lot. Where did you get it?
I actually took a lot of creative liberty with it because it was like when I was listening to a lot of artists, how they kind of came up with their names. It was either it's either part of their name or it's just something that they enjoy. So what I went with is I kind of went with one of my other passions in life, which is storm chasing and the weather.
Oh shit! Really?
So
that's insane. I did not know that about you, homie. Tell me.
Like,
whoa!
I don't actually, storm chasing shit.
Yeah.
But I was always one of my things. I've just always loved severe weather and all this shit. Like I have a fucking NOAA weather radio back there that picks up frequencies, and sometimes at 3 a.m. gives a fucking alert that scares the shit out of me. But
you gotta send it.
Yeah, I've always just had that passion where it's like I mean, my end, like one of the things on my bucket list is to see a tornado in person from a safe distance.
Wow.
Like just see it in the distance and just watch it, because that is just like, I think tornadoes and lightning and like the phenomenon of weather is just phenomenal, and it's awesome. Like yeah,
It's
it's so
humbling.
cool.
Yeah, it's
And
huge.
yeah, but I got my name. So the Tor part is obviously from the first part in Tornado,
Okay.
and codes. A lot more creative liberty went into that. So you know, when you hear like do you know what the emergency alert system is?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
So you
that
know
awful noise.
those three first beeps you hear, the lad's like "Bah," those things, those are called same headers.
Huh.
And what they are like, they're kind of the exact same thing like how dial-up works, is that those three beeps contain information that is meant to go some certain place, and they're specific codes. So like, where does the message need to go, what type of message it will be, and when will it expire. So the codes part is the same header codes. So Tor codes, put it together, and Z just because S is too lame.
uh, dude, I thought it meant something completely different. I thought it meant Tor, like the browser. Yeah, and then in Tor codes, I was thinking this guy's a hacker. This guy, this guy is in the mainframe.
I remember I had to change it originally, because originally it was just TORCODZ without the E in there.
Yeah.
But too many people said CODS, and I was like, no. So I just added the E instead.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, a lot of people. I love asking the question, because like, it's really cool seeing how people tend to wind up at their name through all different creative liberties means. I mean, you're right. I guess you could say most of what I've learned or experienced is people saying it's part of their name or something that they really enjoy. But yeah, no, it's I love asking that question. That's really cool. I did not know the storm chasing passion of yours, and I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, wow. I've never seen a tornado, but I've heard the emergency signal plenty of times.
Yep.
Do you have any favorite YouTube channels that you like to learn music from, or like resources? Because I feel like that's pretty important nowadays. Is finding not only, I mean, YouTube is a plethora of tutorials and knowledge, but I do often feel like there is usually some benefit and really kind of honing in on somebody's specific style of teaching, just so that you can get that experience.
A lot of the times I'll just kind of like search up whatever, but the channels I often kind of go back to time and time again, like I won't like actively watch these channels, but anytime I want like specific stuff, a lot of the time, like Excellent Sound, they have a lot of great tutorials, especially on bass design and a lot of that.
Ooh, I love me some bass design. So
yeah, like Excellent Sound, they're great source. Andrew Kwan, I feel like, is kind of like a default for any producer.
Yep.
He knows what he's doing, and he has the knowledge and teaches really well. Oh god, who else? Can't really remember off the top of my head. But those are like the two that I actively come back to time and time again, because they have not only just like the knowledge of what they're doing, but it's useful to learn off of them. But
Andrew Hong he's a great YouTuber, and just his 4 producers 1 sample series has got to be my favorite.
That was I always liked a lot of those. Oh fuck! I was just about to say. Also, just one thing I always like doing is watching how some people like. I'll always like watch some producers talk about sounds in their set, where like they'll have interviews. Like I remember I watched the Muzz talk about his track breakdown of his track Spectrum, and that was super insightful to learn, like how he kind of goes through his bass design and making heavier stuff, and some of, you know, how he writes a lot of his things. And like one of my biggest learning is through other producers and watching them. You know,
Absolutely.
whether it's just whether they have specific channels or they're being interviewed by like some random ass academy or school or whatever, it's always just super insightful to learn from them. Even watching some on Twitch or whatever.
Yeah,
Which
definitely.
I very rarely do, but anytime I decide to, it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, Twitch is trying to step up the music game, and I don't like Twitch, so I don't really support them on that. Just because I probably a lot of great musicians on there that I would wholesomely support, but gotta hate Twitch.
Yeah, a lot of the times, I think like I think as someone who wants to actually like get into streaming, I feel like, especially just for gaming in general, Twitch is definitely more of a gaming platform.
Right.
It is meant for people to play games, and for DJs it also kind of works, but with a lot of music stuff on there, it is very difficult, because not only do you have to worry about DMCA, but you have to worry about just other shit that you don't want to deal with, because DMCA on Twitch is very strict.
It's super
You can't
strict.
save your VODs, you can't do this other shit sometimes. It is very hard.
I was watching. Oh no, go on, because
Twitch is very like, you know, like especially I'm just gonna put a random ass example. You're DJing. A lot of the times, most DJs that play on there are relatively smaller and you know, they'll have a couple hundred followers and whatever, but you can't save your VODs. So if you wanted to watch it afterwards, you won't be able to, because you might be playing copyrighted music. But sometimes, like what I would do if I ever do that, I always have my sets recorded, because I always use Serato. You know, I always hit record, do whatever, go from that.
Right.
But you know, bigger name DJs obviously have the royalties to the music, or you know, they'll have the rights to it. And you know, because a lot of, you know, you can't really prove if people buy your music unless you show everything.
Yeah.
Even then, DMCA on Twitch is very strict. Like, let's say for people who are playing games, if you're playing Grand Theft Auto and you turn on that radio, you can never, you rarely get to save your VOD.
Damn.
Because of a lot of the music that's on there.
Right.
And it's annoying to deal with. It is, because a lot of people sometimes don't know the rules.
No, completely agree. I was watching Minnesota. The DJ is my favorite. He's my favorite DJ, I gotta say. I'm not the biggest fan of all of his music, but he is by far my favorite concert experience. It was a while back, and it was because of all the music and I guess like all the different genres that he was really putting in there at the time. And it obviously, probably because this was so long ago, this was before he had his record label, before he had like the majority of his albums. He was just killing it on the decks, and he, again, I just shout out to Minnesota, awesome guy. And by the time I watched his Twitch set, it must have been like 6 months ago at most. He played a set on Twitch, and I caught it live, and or maybe, yeah, I think I caught it live. And the thing is, he was on Twitch, so he was really limited to probably everything that was on his record label, right? So he owns a lot of music, that really dope music from other artists that he has under his label. Now, on top of that, I mean, I personally would like him to have a little bit more freedom with the type of music he selects on his sets. I don't think he should only be playing stuff from his label, in my opinion. But besides that fact, when I went back to listen to the set, because I thought it was pretty good, he, like 2 or 3 sections of the mix had just been cut out. And it was like, not only was he, I'm sure, careful of only playing stuff that he owned, but yeah, there were too many complications that he couldn't even get like parts of his set cut out. So
Yeah,
that's
it sucks.
it's a mess. It's a mess. That's all I got.
Yeah, well, they kind of have to kind of abide by rules and regulations set by the government because they're a multi-million-dollar corporation now, and if they don't do it, they can get in massive trouble.
Yeah, yeah,
But
probably. Well, it's so I mean,
it's
it's I can't like this podcast because of the way I want it. I can't really do it on Twitch because I want to interview artists, and if this artist has a song released under a certain record label, I'm gonna want to play it as an intro and an outro. That's just the format that I want right now. And if I did that on Twitch, they would just like probably just take the whole shit down. But on YouTube, they just demonetize me, and I'm like, well, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I mean, I'm not really in this for the money right now because I don't really have a big audience. So if I ever have a bigger audience, maybe I can worry about that more. But until then, fuck the system. I like hearing the music I like to hear.
yeah.
There's a few other like, I mean that's thanks. I'm gonna look up excellent sound because bass design is something that I'm always looking for.
I think I forget how they spell it. It's like XNLT sound.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Thanks.
Yeah, they're real good. I like it's two dudes and they're just charismatic as fuck. They're funny as fuck sometimes.
Yeah.
And really helpful for a lot of bass sounds. You know, they have a lot of sound packs out there that are just really good. They also have this fucking visual pack that I am craving to get, but it is very expensive.
Yeah.
It's like
oh,
$125. Holy shit. But it's probably so worth it because they have like so many visuals, some of the other graphic things. Like I want it so bad. But yeah, they're for bass design and whatever, like trap leads, other type stuff, house bass design in general. Highly recommend Excellent Sound. They're legit.
Yeah, I would on that aspect. Yeah, I follow a few specific channels like Ahi Bass and Mr. Bill are probably my favorite.
Yeah, I've been watching a little Mr. Bill recently.
He's my favorite instructor because he's I don't know, his sense of humor is really dry and he just makes me chuckle a lot. I did hope you're so I mean we've been on for an hour. Do you have are you on a time limit? Because I'm pretty free all day.
I don't got a time limit at the moment, no.
All right, awesome. Well, when you get bored, let me know. Because I mean, I don't really want to limit this show to an hour. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like if we're having good conversation, I don't know why I'd want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, recently though. So with your song, what was your single? Is your single "With You"?
Yeah, that's my debut single.
So you said you were working on that song for a year, or was it just working on getting a song out for a year?
So a lot of it was just like going back, like, so originally the song originally just started out as, you know, basic structure of piano loop and very basic drum loop throughout the entire thing. And that's how it kind of stuck with for a little while. I'd go in, make very small adjustments. Around the summer, like late summer, so like I think it was like during that little producer circle that our friend group had during the summer, someone recommended, why don't you try and add it and go like vocal chops or vocal? And I was like, hey, that may be a good idea. I added one. I was like, okay, this actually kind of helps it a lot. It helps it a lot. So I did that and would just like I'd still go back very little, just like making small adjustments. Like I added the snaps, I added background ARP, or not ARP, pads, doing very small stuff. And then around, I want to say like end of November, it was like kind of basically almost completely done. I was just adding very small like mixing effects and all this other stuff. And then by the end of December, I was like, I'm settling in. It's finished. It's done. I'm getting ready. And then it just took like about a month to officially release.
You get the homie Jaden to master it?
Yeah, I got Jaden to master it. I had some
Jay
artists on
Hans.
Fiverr do the artwork for it, and she did an amazing job, I must say. Probably will be going back to her for some more art. I can't remember her name at the moment, but she did such a good job for pretty cheap too, which is always nice. But I'd probably
Oh shit! Yeah, I
pay
really
just a
like.
little extra.
I
But
like the artwork a lot.
yeah, it was like I was just because I wanted to get like good art for it that was simplistic, but a lot of the times when I tried looking like because I know a couple of my friends that do artwork, and a lot of the times they charge a little more because they're a little more detailed. And I was like, that's nice. I want to support you guys, but I'm also running on a little bit of a budget.
Yeah. Well, I
But
feel
I
like
mean,
it. No, go on, go on.
I paid 35. I paid $35 for that artwork because it was like 15 for the actual art, and then like another 20 for the rights to it.
Oh, I feel yeah. So she won't like use it anywhere else, and
Yeah, well, it was just like I can actually, it was uh like if you just buy it originally, it's like you have I forget what the original rights are, but then you have rights to actually profit off of it if once you buy it,
right. Yeah,
and
that's
you completely own the artwork, and like obviously the artist owns it as well because they're the ones that made it. Well, I don't know exactly how it goes. I'm still learning this copyright shit, but
yeah.
I technically hold the rights to this artwork since I
Right.
paid for it.
Hell yeah. No, yeah. It's I've had a bunch of artists on Fiverr actually because I'm on Fiverr. They've asked for
Mhm.
the rights and they're just like, yeah, don't sell this to anyone else. And I'm like, well, if you want the exclusive rights,
Yeah.
that's a little different because I'm selling them like music videos and I'm like, this is a nice visual. I want to make sure I can still use it in the future.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say about the cover of With You. It seems very much your style. So like the artwork. It just matches. I I think of you when I see it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like totally.
Yeah, I kind of went for because like anytime I've played live, I've always had this my normal visuals, and then like I'd have these overlaid visuals that I bought of like the line artwork animation that I found. I think those are just that like especially for my liquid style and like very like my liquid drum and bass style. I'm probably gonna go with that artwork style because it's very minimalistic. It's very like one person something and all that. And then for like more fleshed out and heavier work done stuff that have a lot more layers to it, add more stuff to the artwork.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
for that stuff, black and white line artwork,
Kind of reminds me
it'll
of
it'll be nice.
kind of reminds me of anime almost.
Yeah, it's that style. Like I guess that would be it. But I mean, I'm not one to. I personally don't watch anime that much. I just like the artwork style.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's really cool. I've seen some really cool. I don't watch anime much. I've only been introduced to it by friends and the art style though is really interesting. I always
I do
enjoy
like
that.
the artwork style because you can get some dope ass fucking artwork from it.
I guess okay, that's cool. Fiverr is usually hit or miss too, so I'm glad you got something good from there. Um,
Yeah, I was really like I was really worried at first, but then afterwards I was like, okay, they actually did a really good job.
yeah,
Yeah,
I had
I
one
was
bad
happy with the
experience.
result.
I tried redoing my logo on Fiverr and it was a nightmare. I did not.
Yeah,
I made no progress.
yeah.
I wanted to maybe end on some like Ableton questions or not nothing
Okay.
more so like so you I think you and I started producing around the same time and I'm pumped
Mhm.
that you're getting that you have that release out. I didn't know it was a full release, so congrats on that. I know that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Have you had any any breakthroughs on Ableton that really kind of changed your perspective on how you make music or how you had an approach to making music? Because I've had my own fair share, but I'm always interested in, other people's experience with that.
I think the one big difference I had from Ableton from like when I was originally making an FL Studio, it felt more like it didn't feel like I was doing much with anything. But with Ableton, it just feels like there's a workflow that I was like, okay, I actually know what I'm doing and I have more control over it. And not to discredit people who use FL Studio, because there's some talented motherfuckers that use FL Studio out there.
Eliminate.
Like,
Yeah.
Eliminate, fucking Space Laces uses FL Studio. Like the people there's very talented people out there who use FL. Even fucking Dion Timmer uses FL Studio.
Mm.
Go, you know. But I think for me, it's just the workflow is just so good, and I feel like, especially when I'm writing like notes and chords and all that, it just feels like I do lightly miss the piano roll back in FL Studio every so often, but it's like the one in Ableton is just feels more like I'm actually writing.
Right. I've never used FL. I used it once for 10 minutes. That was it.
Yeah.
And it was I can't really make the comparison between the two. What about the workflow? Like what's I want to know what is your writing process, or what is your general workflow when
So
you're starting a song?
so when I start a new project, a lot of the time I'll be like, I'll actually just tend to immediately start with drums. I just start with some basic shit right away. And then I'll go and start looking at chords with just piano. A lot of the time, like the default scale I always go to is either C major or A minor or E minor. That's just the two that I know the best, and I'll just kind of go from there. I'll write chords, I'll write a bass, and then I'll just kind of like build off of that and just kind of go from there. Then in a drop sense, sometimes it sees results. Sometimes I just kind of have a loop that I keep repeating.
Right.
But then when I'm writing a melody, it's just kind of whatever is stuck in my head at the moment, and then I'll just write that based off of when I'm humming it to myself, like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, it's just I have the chords down, I have the idea in my head, and I'm just kind of going from there.
So do you usually have like a song in your head that you're trying to get out, and that you'll maybe sit down a bass line, or bass line for, and then or do you ever go to the DAW with a blank slate and say, I want to make this song that I'm hearing in my head? Or is it, because what I do is a lot of times I say, okay, I need to make a song. I'll throw down something randomly. I will go through a bunch of sample packs and find something that I think catches my eye, and then I'll start listening for that song that I hear in my head.
I feel like a lot of the time for me, like especially when I'm like doing something completely random that's where I'm not even at home at the DAW, I'll think of something and I'll be like, this would actually be so good. I get down, I sit down, I'm like, what was I thinking of before? And I won't be able to think of that again until a couple days later, like, oh fuck, that's what I was thinking of. Get back to the DAW and like, how did it go again? And I think that's one of my biggest struggles. Not only just trying to get that idea and melody down, but getting the sound design. Because with a lot of melodic stuff, I want to get those like very like the leads and the chord sound itself is kind of specific, but also you can kind of make it sound a little more unique. I'm still slightly struggling with figuring out how to make that sound decent with and so I can have that idea. But a lot of times when I'm writing something that's in my head, I'll throw it down and I'll come back to it eventually.
Yeah. In your track with you, did you design a lot of the bass, or did you just design most of the sounds, or did you maybe take from samples, or stems,
So,
or yeah?
the vocal, and the piano sound are all from sample packs. Like
Mhm.
the piano is from just like a basic patch and a free piano plugin that I managed to grab. But the bass design is a detuned saw bass. and there's some extra pads in there that are a little hard to pick up, but I kind of made those based off of a preset, but like I kind of completely changed it a bit. I like changed the wave sound and serum and all this.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is just like kind of just my own idea, but a lot of it is also just because I don't use a lot of like when I try to make like a heavy bass, for example, like so let's say for like a heavy dubstep track or heavy halftime drum step or whatever, I'll start with a preset and kind of think of how would I make this, or sometimes I'll keep a preset in there, and I'll ever rarely use bass shots from them, even though I have a shit ton of sample packs that are only those. I'll use them, but do something weird with it.
Yeah. Or well, that's what I was. Yeah, what I was gonna say is I'll start with a patch, but the thing is, like, I feel like once you even change, like, if you're in Serum and you start with a basic patch, or maybe a patch that you bought, sometimes just changing the wavetable can go a long way. And I'm like, oh shit, like, how much of this is my sound now? Like, if you stumble across something that you really like, and the answer I've come up with is like, no, it's like totally your sound now. Like if you just change one thing on a patch and it ends up being something that you really enjoy, like that's sound design. that's sound design. Like I don't really think I don't think you need to go that far from an original idea that maybe you didn't come up with in order for it to actually just be yours.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I completely agree on that. And like, you know, a lot of the times sounds have been made before. Almost every single sound has been made. I don't want to say every sound, but
I would I would disagree with you on that. I tend to view sound design as like an ocean, and it's like I feel like we don't know a lot about the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a point I would challenge you on if you wanted to get into that. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, I can see that, you know, like I feel like it's been made, but not many people have found it, you know, or like the ideas are there. It's just not explored yet. Yeah. Like, I guess, yeah, I don't know. Ocean would be a great metaphor for that.
I guess, yeah, I don't want to bounce too far away from Ableton. I have this question here about would you support a SoundCloud live feature, but I kind of want that to be the last question because it's pretty out there.
Yeah.
What's up?
No,
oh, it was a yawn. I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you, here's something I like to ask because as of so far, I've gotten a very consistent answer. How often are you producing?
I try to produce at least a couple times a week.
Okay, gotcha.
Or at least go in my DAW in Ableton, at least an hour or more, a couple of times a week, or not like an hour per week, but like at least an hour every other day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And whether I'm not doing anything, whether I'm just like making loops, I'm still just like thinking of something where I'm just still keeping that mentality of I'm doing something very little here, but it's something at least.
Right.
You know.
Hell yeah, yeah. I agree. Do you watch like YouTube videos when you're not producing or like on your free time? Because
every so often, like producer related videos and shit like that.
Yeah, no, yeah, because I watch a bunch of other shit, but
yeah. Every so often, when I'm just like kind of thinking of something to watch, I'll watch like sample breakdowns or like track breakdowns and stuff like that. Every so often, I will try to, you know, kind of feed that in and watch either that or interviews and stuff like that a lot of the time.
Do you make you said sample breakdowns, dude? Do you make like your own samples? Or here maybe I'll rephrase that. I have found that one of the best ways to get my ass in front of Ableton is not actually to make a song, but it's actually just to like make a bunch of weird, funky noises on like operator or like analog or even Serum or Vital. It's like I'll just open up something and be like, I'm gonna make the weirdest bullshit that I can make, and making sample packs out of that is even more fulfilling. So I love doing that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I would love a Torcodez sample pack. So
I've always tried. I've just never really gotten with anything, because a lot of times when I'm doing my own sound design, it's a lot of like I've very few times made my own drums where I just stack a shit ton of drums and make like a kick out of that or something, or like stack a shit ton of stuff and make a unique snare clap out of that, you know. I've tried before to make my own samples, or like I have my own presets and stuff that I have throughout the years. I've always thought about it, and I think that'd be something for eventually when I actually have a little more of a distinguished sound, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I had a question popped into my mind and then it got out of there just easily. It was going to be something. You just said something about sample packs. No, it's out of there. No, why? It's gone. I guess something. I'm just gonna go over like, yeah. What's favorite VST right now? Is it still Serum?
Yeah.
Have you tried? Have you tried Vital?
I love using Serum, whether it's for bass, melodic, anything. It's so good.
Have you tried Vital?
So much with it. Tried what?
Vital?
I have not. I've actually not heard of that. What was that one like?
It's completely free, unless you pay for the presets, I'm pretty sure. And the presets are cool. It's a lot of people are calling it the Serum killer. I want to agree with that, but I feel like I don't have enough experience in either of them to actually make that call. But I really think the workflow is a little bit different. I think I wouldn't really call it more advanced. It's just a different way of routing or presenting routing, at least. And I would for sure. I mean, braV recommends checking out Vital. You should really check it out. It's okay. It's free too, and I think the reason people are calling it the Serum killer is because it's free. Like unless you're buying patches for it. I think you should release some patches, man. Like in at least in our Discord server. I would love that to get something curated by you. I think that'd be a lot of fun, and I think you could probably find your own sound really quickly there, man. You're a bright fella.
Thank you. I'll keep that in my mind.
Yeah.
Keep stuff working on.
What? Yeah, no, I'm just gonna end with this because I'm so mad I forgot this. It was a good question too, and I'll ask you when we're not on a podcast and I actually remember it.
Yeah.
Do you think so? So I had this idea. This is completely random. I was laying in bed the other day and I just thought to myself, I was like thinking about the stream. I was thinking about the podcast. I was thinking about just, like what I'm doing with it. And I remember just out of nowhere, I was like, SoundCloud Live. Why the fuck is that not? Why doesn't that exist yet? I think that would be a really cool idea. What do you think?
I think that'd actually be kind of interesting, especially for like, because I mean, SoundCloud is kind of that one area that people tend to go to a lot for, release, like especially for underground and unknown artists. They'll start off a lot of the times on there and do shit. I think that'd actually be a really good idea. Why haven't they done that?
There we go. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, no way. Why? I can't be the only one thinking of this. I hope there's some German guy like in the SoundCloud building being like, hold up. I hope someone's working on it.
Yeah, that would be definitely something I think they should try to implement at some point. Because it'd be beneficial.
I think it put them on the map again because I feel like there's still a SoundCloud stigma, is there not?
Yeah, I feel like you kind of, like as a producer, you kind of have to be on SoundCloud for a while because I don't think people go to SoundCloud as much unless they're trying to download your song.
Yep.
But because I feel like the places you're going to is either you're gonna listen to it on YouTube or you're gonna listen to it on Spotify, and sometimes you'll go on SoundCloud. Like I don't go on SoundCloud as often as I'd like to, but anytime I do go on, I'll see if anyone that I know have put something out. Always like it, support your friends and whatever. And if they're on Spotify, I'll always hit that like on their stuff. Like anytime Abel Gray or Jordan Gamble or even Arcane, anyone releases anything that I know on Spotify, I'll always add it to my playlist and shit like that. But yeah, I think especially for SoundCloud, there's still that area there. People still actively go to SoundCloud.
I'm an active SoundCloud user. I use it more than Spotify or anything else.
Yeah, I think they should. I think live would be a great idea, and don't make people pay for it.
Yeah, definitely. That would be too. I wouldn't like that. If they made people pay for it. I would. Speaking of, we've brought up a few really awesome local DJs. I would really love to have Spooky Bro, Sav, Arcane, and what was FMJ. I would love to have him on the podcast. I've met him a few times, and they're totally more into the that whole bass side of producing that I'm just fucking obsessed with. So
yeah,
luckily
I try to get FMJ as soon as you could, because I know at some point I think the FMJ project at least is going to be done with, because he'll be doing something else. But I know he's still got some stuff he's still going to be releasing. But yeah, I'd hit Chris up. He's a really talented dude. He's got some fucking bangers out there.
He's got some
I love
heaters.
Chris.
Star Monster is also Star Monster's been blowing up. He's been popping up in my SoundCloud feed.
Yeah, Star Monster is getting his name out there. Fucking props to him. Props to Phil. He's doing some fucking great work out there. I know he has those connections out there. He's got he's making a big name because he's been on the Dub Rebellion a couple of times already.
I've never. Is that a label?
It's a promo channel that a lot of dubstep people have on, like, go there often. Like fucking a lot of music is like, he has 2 songs on there and he has a mix on the Dub Rebellion. Like, and not many people get mixes on Dub Rebellion, but
okay.
he has a couple out there.
So speaking of mixes, bro, do you have any? Can we look forward to a mix by Torcodez coming out?
Soon I will be uploading my house mix. That'll be under my I'm making a new YouTube channel for like it'll be like my gaming and VR stuff when I'm getting into that eventually. But that mix will be released on there as a house mix. I am going to be doing some mixes soon. I will be doing some visual mixes for Torcodez, whether it's a dubstep, a drum and bass one, because I want to do more mixes.
You mean visual mixes? You said?
Well, yeah. So like I'll record the mix first, and then I'll go into After Effects and just add some visuals to it.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna say we could collab on that if you wanted to. But if you wanted to, I could show you some of the new projects or new visuals that I have, because they're a little different than the stuff I was doing. But they're not those 3D settings that I know that you like to use and that you design. Getting a little sleepy over there. No, yeah, you're good. Well, yeah, no, I would love to hear a Torcodez mix, and I think I'm excited to see where this goes, dude. I really believe in you. First of all, your energy from the first day we ever met, you put a smile on my face. You're you're just really optimistic about a lot of things that I tend to get a little gloomy about in the music industry, and I mean especially Liquid. Like I think I was pretty frustrated with them for a while, but I totally understand like that whole it's like just that childhood fascination with the scene is still there.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want that to go away. And you're a
Mhm.
really good reminder of that. Just want to say that's the energy you put out there.
Thank you.
That's why I admire you
Thank you.
for
Thank you.
it.
Appreciate it.
But anyways, I hope I'm not keeping you from fucking ball around to CS:GO, homie.
No, you're good. I think the only thing that's happening is I just need to get a water soon.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I do. I think an hour and a half. I think we've had a great conversation, and
Yeah.
I think we should do. We got to link up sometime. And I showed you my ex DJ that I got in the basement, bro. I would love for you to come by.
Yeah,
and
that's things. I do gotta come over at some point and fuck around on that because that thing is mucho bendo.
Yeah. Well, I
gotta.
I got vaccinated. So no worries about. Or at least yeah, no worries about COVID. I would love for you to come through and check out this, or yeah, definitely mix on there. The only reason I got it is because I was tired of fucking getting up on stage and being like, oh, I haven't touched CDJ in fucking months.
Yeah.
And then
Might
having
be
to,
something useful to learn.
yeah, I'm not a big fan. Oh, let's not end just yet. Let's have a small debate about CDJs. What do you think? Do you like them? Do you not like them? Because I don't like them.
I do like CDJs. As much as I do like having Serato for my mixes, at least, because I have a DDJ SP3, but I think especially for a lot of mix, it definitely depends on the type of DJ you are and the type of music that you do. For house and for mainstream dubstep, I want to say, and even drum and bass like myself, I think CDJs are kind of like the way to go. And I personally, as much as they're weird to work with, I really like them. It's something that I do want to work with eventually because you can do a lot of cool shit with them. And this is something I've always wanted to kind of get a concrete way of getting down,
I agree that I would like to learn how to use them because again, just I hate maybe the thing I hate is that they're the club standard. But the only thing that I really, yeah, that'd be the only thing I really dislike about them. I think you can do a lot of cool shit with them because I remember when I first met Alex, he was giving me some. He was just like jamming out on some CDJs after a show, and he did some he did some really cool vinyl breaks with the slip on. And I was like, oh, I was like, that is some spicy shit that I know my digital hardware doesn't do.
Yeah.
But it's the effects, man. They limit me so much. And that's really how I feel about them. They're not my favorite. I think digital. That's not where I'm going to go. Yeah, I'm more, everyone usually, I think most people start on like Serato or Virtual DJ and they get a controller and they're used to having 3 effects. That's where my bias comes in. But I recently started looking at reviews for like the CDJ 3000 just came out, right? And I was like, oh shit, I saw it and I was like, I've been saving up. There's a few, like I've got this XDJ, but it's, okay, by the way, this XDJ, it's a 4-channel controller. Mm-hmm. You can only use 2 channels when you don't have any. Yeah, there's no 3 or 4 that you can like bounce between, even though it's an all-in-one, but it gives you a 4-channel mixer. You can only use 1 and 2 unless you have external hardware, right?
Right.
So that was something that kind of tweaked me because I didn't know that before I bought it. Then when the CDJ 3000 came out, I was considering it because I was like, homie, like, I gotta at least have a third deck to listen to shit on, or like or put a vocal on. I think that could be. I'm just trying to take my set to the next level, relatively. And then I started looking at the Denon Denon SC6000 or something like that. You should look into that. And then it kind of opened my eyes up to Denon, and I think they're I think they're superior hardware. I think you should check them out.
Okay.
Um,
I'll keep that one in mind. Sounds interesting.
the biggest thing is so if I got a CDJ 3000, which I was excited for when I first saw it, I would be able to access a third channel. But then for no reason, Denon in their single deck, or their single player deck, they have two channels. You can actually play you can play two songs on one deck and I know that the CDJ 3000 does not have that capability. So it's just a little tidbit. I don't know. I wanted to talk about it. Why not?
Yeah.
But
it's interesting.
Definitely come through and we'll have a blast on the CDJ no matter what.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Doug, hit me up about that, and I hope to see you at my place soon then.
For sure. Yeah, I gotta come through.
Yeah, no. Why don't we end it here? I've had a great time talking to you, man. It's been great to connect this way, and like I said, let's link up. Let's once shit starts cooling down with the COVID, I'm sure we'll see a lot more of each other.
Oh fuck yeah, for sure.
Definitely. But yeah, until then, let's close things out. I'm going to end the podcast, or on the fade out, it's going to be Torcodez' new single "With You," which is on all platforms. So just look up Torcodez, and you'll find him on iTunes, Facebook, Twitch, and last but not least, Spotify. So hell yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna close out with that song. Sam, it's been fucking awesome talking to you, and let's do this again. And it's I'm glad you're in the Discord server, by the way. It's
for sure, man.
It's been great having you, and we all love you. So whenever you got a set or a mix coming out, just let us know, and whenever you finally decide to put out share your beautiful patches and samples with the server, we are ready for it.
For sure, man. Really appreciate it. Great opportunity here.
Anytime. No, so yep. Until next time, bud. It's gonna be the same drill, by the way. So once your music is playing, people can still hear your mic. So just mute yourself. Right. Yeah. But anyways, homie.
Sounds good.
Yep. No. Peace out, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day. And let's listen to "With You" by Torcodez. But before I get right into that, subscribe, blah blah blah. It helps the channel, blah blah blah. And I don't really care. So subscribe if you care, or like the channel or anything that we talked about. And we're going to be doing this with more artists. So, yep. Have a good day, y'all. Peace, love, and may the Lord be with you. Or the Lord of music, or whoever. I'm clicking through links right now trying to find his song so I can get the fuck off. All right. All right, homie. Yep, I'm going to start playing your song. Torcodez "With You." Check his shit out. All links are in the description, and I am out of here. Peace out, homie.
Peace out.
Much love to y'all. Thanks for watching.